Good morning. You listen to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Jay Smith, the president of the FEI Group. Jay, how you doing?
Fantastic.
It's good to talk to you. I unfortunately missed your annual meeting held last week in San Antonio, Texas. I wanted to let our listeners hear a little bit of the highlights. I hear the theme was Texas Tough, right?
That is correct, yes.
You guys, you and Dave Giesling, you do a great job of motivating people at the beginning. I understand you threw some stats out talking about how the economy's doing. While the builder market and multifamily continues to be strong, everything's moving in the right direction, and you threw out a whole bunch of stats around the wealth and low unemployment and GDP, so things aren't bad out there, are they?
Well, that was our take, and actually we used that, and I will throw in, you said, I appreciate you saying we do a nice job. We try our best, and one of the things we do believe is that it's incumbent upon us to bring our own passion, and that's why you'll very rarely see an outside professional motivational speaker, keynote type guys that we believe in, and taking a look at where we are, what we're doing, what our members are doing, and what they need, and we believe in bringing that ourselves and bringing that passion, so we always try to. And this year, because things are pretty good in our space, builder and multifamily, that can breed complacency. When things are good, you're running, everything's going, and we wanted to challenge that because we were in the toughest of all states, right, Texas. We wanted to use that theme as a time to challenge ourselves and our members to look at the things that are important today and tomorrow to be the best we can be, because we don't know how long it'll be good. We feel good about the future, but it's uncertain, and we always want to be planning for the unknown, and that's the jumping-off point we use to get into conference.
Well, let's real quick ground my listeners for those people that might not know who FEI Group is. Obviously, for a long time, you were known as FloorExpo. You have two groups that really focus in the flooring area, focused in both builder and multifamily. You're a division of CCA Global. How many years you guys been having these meetings now?
Well, we just finished our 19th conference, and next year will be our 20-year conference, so we're getting pretty experienced at it. We've been doing it a long time, and yeah, you're right. We have multifamily solutions focused on flooring contractors who do apartment work, and our original division, Home Solutions by FloorExpo, that does builder work. We are a who's who in flooring of folks that do builder and apartment work around the country. We have some of the finest companies, finest people involved in FloorExpo, and that's what makes it go.
Yeah, and we're working on our top 100 list, and there's a lot of your members that are on that list. So it's some movers and shakers that are moving a lot of flooring in the business. I guess one of the questions I'd like to ask you is, what are they struggling with? I mean, most everybody in the business is struggling with finding talented, available labor to be able to help install these products. So I'm sure that's one issue, right?
Well, that's definitely an issue, and it's an issue that doesn't have any easy answers. But what we do is we do a lot of roundtabling on that, where we're trying to get the best ideas that are paying off in the marketplace and talk about that. But what we were focused on a lot more at this conference is things that we can control. We see an increasing need for speed and efficiency in our business, both from a customer-facing standpoint, as being fast and speedy and accurate with the customer, and also just for being efficient from a cost standpoint in the marketplace. So we can, it's a very competitive space out there. So we did a number of sessions that were focused on speed, efficiency, workflow process, and that kind of thing, and trying to help our guys get better with what they do.
Is this computer-based solutions or more of just a mindset?
We did have some interesting technology there. And of course, RFMS, our great partner, was there as well. Yeah. But this had more to do with organization and process flow, how paperwork flows through your system, and we did some good work on that, and we'll be building on that in the future. Yeah. So it's literally more operations-based than technology.
Give us a rundown. I know one of the things that was one of the news items there is you got a member there that's consolidated and bought two other members, right?
That's been going on a long time in our space.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think you're referring to our friends Larry and Wayne have recently formed a new co and have bought a couple of folks, and I think they'll be buying others as they go forward. But of course, we have Reddy Carpet, who's one of the largest multifamily players in the space. They've been there for a good while. We had Builders Wholesale, just made an acquisition as well. On the kitchen and bath side, Mark Kraft just acquired Apex Cabinetry. We have Artisan, who was just 5 years ago 2 locations. Today they're 10. Yeah. Theirs is more of a greenfield model. But FloorExpo guys are growing, and one of the things we love is that if you want to buy or sell, you can do that at our meetings or even our cocktail parties. That is a part of what these entrepreneurs do, and we love it when they do it with friends.
Yeah, that's actually one of the reasons you have your meetings is for the networking, right?
That's a huge part. You mentioned who we are, and I do think, we had over 550 people at this conference. now. It's super powerful, and great folks, good business people, and the connections they make produce good outcomes. We like to say we want to have a little more fun and we want to make a lot more money. And those two things have happened consistently in a variety of different ways, but they have happened consistently for pushing 20 years now. So absolutely.
This may be difficult for you to do since you have members of all different sizes and different regions of the country, but if you had to quantify the growth of the whole organization this year over last year, what would you say it would be?
Both Builder and Multi are doing well. But the way we see it overall, Kemp, is that Builder continues its slow and steady return to health.
Yeah.
And we see that continuing, and that's good. And we feel like our guys are getting an outsized share of that. Multifamily, turn season was excellent this summer. Occupancy rates are still high, which is a good thing. New construction has plateaued, but it's plateaued at a very high rate on apartment, and we see needing to maintain that high rate for the next 10 years in order to satisfy coming demand. So we feel pretty good about our space, but that said, we don't want to rest on our laurels, and that's why we're working so hard to be the best flooring contractors we can be.
So you don't think, because there's a lot of people out there that think that multifamily may have overshot and that by the time they got it figured out, they've built too many. You don't think that?
That argument is being made on a macro basis. I would counter that. There may be some short-term, particularly market-based corrections where they've caught up to the demand. But overall, what we see, the projections are that we're going to need to maintain somewhere in the high 200s over the next 10 years in the country. So that's a high rate traditionally for apartments. Mm-hmm. So we see a good overall runway in apartments. It will vary by market. You have seen actually a couple of markets come down in terms of their occupancy rate, which has not been happening lately. So what you're saying is true on a micro basis, but on a macro basis, we continue to be bullish.
Yes, some of the cranes that you're seeing in some of these big cities, are not commercial buildings; they're housing buildings.
Absolutely. I'm sitting in Atlanta, Georgia, talking to you right now, and come drive through 75, 85 in Atlanta, and you will see exactly that. A lot of cranes, many of them are multifamily projects.
So let's go back to single family for a second. Starts are running, about 830, is that right?
Yeah, that's right. They actually just revised it downward last week as a result of the hurricanes in Florida and Texas.
Yeah.
Just revised downly. But it's going to be 800 and change. I think that's fair to say. And that's good, steady growth. It's not going wild. It's funny, when we show our charts at the conference, we always include 2006, 7, 8, 9, and you can see that dip. And we love showing that because it reminds us that we survived that moment in time, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing is you can see this climb out of that, and we're still not back up to an average line prior to that. And I'm talking about a 30-year window. So slow, steady, winning the race in Builder. It's coming back, continues.
Well, one of the things you guys always do, you work on the thought process. You work not only sharpening the saw around making sure you exercise, but get your head in the right place. And you talked at one point at the meeting about Texas tough, but what's not tough. And you're talking about some of these traits that some people have that we need to move away from. You remember what those were?
I do. We had some fun with that. We talked about being overconfident because we do consider ourselves the best of the best, but we never want to be too sure of ourselves. We think a little humility goes a long way. So that was one of the things we looked at. Lack of preparedness. We think the world is changing, and we think the demand for speed and efficiency, as I mentioned, we think the demand for lower cost, all those things is going to get more acute, not less. Another thing that's important, I'll just mention quickly, is the people side of it. And we took a moment. We had some very important folks to us that were retiring, great industry folks, heading to the next chapter of their lives. And we had some new folks there that have new important executive roles, and this goes for both members and suppliers. And we always try to take a moment and recognize that as well.
You gave out some awards too, didn't you?
We did give out some awards. The Members of the Year, Multifamily Solutions side, was Lifestyles.
Yeah.
Tim Murray, Delton, Peggy out of Florida. And then on the Home Solutions side, our great friend, and really one of the brightest young minds in our industry, Adam Nahn, at Nahn's out of Wisconsin. Those are the two Members of the Year, and we just think so much of them.
Yeah, Adam's one of our future focus leaders, so he's in our alumni class there as well.
Well, you chose well with him. You'll be hearing a lot from Adam over the years. Truly, he's a leader today, Kemp,
right.
And we're proud to be associated with him. Both those companies are fantastic.
And next year's meeting is October 3rd to the 5th in San Diego, right?
San Diego, West Coast, our 20-year.
Great to talk to you, Jay. I appreciate you spending time with the listeners. You've been talking to Jay Smith, the president of the FEI Group, and you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.